voice.
Everybody's talking about me. I don't hear words.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Granny's PC, episode 222, on this fairly busy Sunday evening. I mean, I know, like, for those who are into award shows and stuff, the Grammys are on. Sunday night basketball debut tonight for sports fans, like myself, because there's no football this week. We got the Super Bowl next week. There's an outdoor hockey game going on and stuff like that. I know there's like Game of Thrones, Night of the Seven Kingdoms tonight. But we also got Granny's PC. So thank you for joining us on this Sunday evening. We got a lot to talk about ourselves. There's some shows that dropped this week. We got Fallout Season 2. Episode 7, so as we start winding down to the end of the season there. And we have an entire season of the latest MCU show, Wonder Man, to jump into here, because that dropped in full on Tuesday. But yeah, thanks for joining us on this Sunday evening. If you're joining us on the Facebook live stream, if you're joining us on YouTube, or wherever you found your audio on the podcast, we always appreciate the support. I am Ed, and with me as always is Jason. Jason, what's up, man? What's going on?
Nothing much. Happy Sunday, everyone. We're basking in the music. This is a beautiful song. Quick story. While Ed shares out the show, had a friend of the show, Alex, in this weekend, which is why I couldn't run earlier today, because I had to bring him to the subway. And every time Al's my nephew. Every time he comes into town, we'll stay over. We'll watch some sort of superhero property that he should have seen and never has.
Oh, okay.
So the one that he watched for the first time with me yesterday was, get ready for this, Ed, Captain America: Civil War.
Wait, what?
He had never seen Captain America: Civil War.
Hasn't he talked about this movie in our comment section? And I'm so confused.
I am also confused, but he went in going, yeah, I'm Team Iron Man. I know enough about this. I'm Team Iron Man. Then he came out going, yeah, I don't think Iron Man's right, but I stand by it. I'm Team Iron Man.
He's just like, hey, I already chose this. I'm going to die in a cell, and that's it.
But it's fun rewatching that. I haven't rewatched that since we did it on the show. Always a good movie. I appreciate Baron Zemo more now that I've seen him do other things.
Oh, like dancing?
Like dancing? Like I'm watching this movie going, when are we dancing, Baron? Come on. It's a fucking Saturday night. Let's dance. But he doesn't in the movie.
Ooh, he has this whole thing. Oh, man. Yeah, I myself, it was last Saturday, I got to see an early screening of Send Help, the new Sam Raimi film.
Oh, you saw it. How was it?
It is awesome.
Okay, I really want to see it.
Yeah, highly recommend it. Everything about it is pretty awesome. All around. I mean, I'm a pretty big Sam Raimi fan myself, even obviously we cover Spider-Man. Jason and I are also horror fans, so we've seen the Evil Dead films and everything in Army of Darkness.
Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, two of my favorite movies.
Yeah, he also did Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness too, and there's been a lot of questions I've seen during the press tour. People trying to poke about asking about, will there be a Spider-Man 4 for his Spider-Man one day? And he's joked about it. At one point, he was saying, I saw that he was like, the time has passed. There's a new Spider-Man now. That's it is what it is. And then recently, he's like, that he would possibly be open to it. I think he really wants to work with Marvel again. So,
okay,
there's some projects I think that would be open for him though.
It'd be kind of cool if, when they are ready to and able to launch Miles, it would be kind of cool if, that's the universe he's launched in, because, he's canonically from a different universe, right?
Yeah.
And we did see another movie I watched with Al, and he has seen this. He wanted to watch this one. We were watching Across the Spider-Verse, and I remembered, you got, kind of schlubby Peter Parker. I can see older Tobey Maguire playing, schlubby Peter Parker, being a mentor to to Miles Morales. So I wouldn't actually mind if that was the way they brought Miles into it.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because they did throw a little breadcrumb in Spider-Man: Homecoming for Miles Morales, right? Like when we get the Prowler, and he mentions he has a nephew that lives in Brooklyn, so you know who he's referring to. And yeah, I don't know, because like our Tom Holland Peter Parker is still, even though like I think we're gonna in Brand New Day we're gonna see him like as an adult now. You know, more he's dealing with more adult shit now. I feel like that first trilogy was kind of like his teenage years, and now we're gonna kind of get that. But I don't know, like I guess I don't know. I my guess would be the MCU would probably roll with Miles. I just don't know when, because time-wise, it's going to have to happen at some point, but I still think there's so much Tom Holland still left.
For sure. I agree. And they shouldn't rush it at all. I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't mind if they did something like that.
Yeah, I agree. We got some comments in here quickly, too, from YouTube. At Red Dead Redemption 2 God. Hey, what's up, man? What's going on? Thanks for checking us out on a Sunday evening.
Red Dead rocks. I'm a player as well. Love that game.
And he likes Miles Morales. Everyone seems to universally love Miles Morales. Like that was
awesome.
That was one of the heroes where, you know, the mantle was passed on, and everyone seems to have been like, yeah, that one's cool. Like other ones, they seem to be various and stuff like that, but that's one where it seems to have been universally kind of like everyone's cool with.
I think it's because both Miles is a very interesting version of Spider-Man, and he never tried to take Peter Parker's place. Like he was in the multiverse, and then they were in the same universe, but him and Peter Parker worked together. And I think that's why. It's because people don't like the OG threatened if they have a affection for it, like we do for Peter Parker.
Absolutely.
But if the second generation works, and you're not messing with the original, I think people are more open to it.
Yeah, I remember when that was first announced. You know, I've been in and out of reading current comics and stuff like that. Like I remember years ago when Miles Morales was announced, and I'm like, oh, what happened? What did they do? And I'm not gonna lie, like when they said it was like, oh, it was happening in the Ultimate Universe, I was like, oh, all right, whatever. It's fine. I all of a sudden I was way more accepting to it. But over time, reading some Miles Morales and seeing him in the animated films and everything like that, like I've grown to really like the character as well.
Yeah.
So
same.
Yeah, and also reading runs where they coexist, even in the the current time, like in the main in 616 MCU. I mean Marvel, it's fun. Like it's fun. Like they actually have a pretty good banter together. I know they have a series coming up where they're working together more as well. Like they didn't do a ton.
That's
of
cool.
Because when it was the run he had was like when Peter was doing Parker Industries and he became more of a global Spider-Man. He was kind of like Iron Man for a bit, and then Miles was more of like the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Okay, that's cool. I like that because it allows the Peter Parker Spider-Man to do other things while you still get a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I like that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. All right, so then I guess let's jump into what we got here this evening. We do got Fallout Season 2, Episode 7, as we're winding down here. I mean, we got the finale next dropping on Tuesday, because I posted this on our Facebook page, but Amazon moved up their release dates from Wednesdays to Tuesdays starting.
Okay.
So yeah, it drops on Tuesday nights now.
All right.
So, overall thoughts. I mean, I'll drop mine quickly, and then you can take over. I'll hand it off to you to walk us through this. Pretty fucking wild episode, man. Like I feel like we're saying this kind of every week, but this is some big shit here. And I have some questions for you now. And I know you stated that like these characters per se are not actually in the games. Like they just kind of
not the main characters. Like like Lucy, some of the villains Cooper, are.
Yeah.
Like the guy who's in charge of New Vegas, the guy who comes online at the end is the computer. He is absolutely in the video game. But like Cooper and all the others, no, they're kind of like, it's funny because Al asked me, does this follow the story or even try? And I'm like, No, it doesn't follow any of the stories, but it fits perfectly into the world. And I think that's it. These are characters that could exist in this world, but they're telling a new story.
Okay. And that's, I guess, why, like, I guess for, people who were friends of the video game franchise, it feels fresh for you as well. Like, so you don't know exactly what's
Yes.
going to happen.
I have no idea. I just,
No.
there are things I pick up on earlier, and I'm
Mhm.
going to go into one of those things that I should have covered last week, but I only realized it while watching the recap today.
Okay.
But like there are things I pick up earlier if you never played the game, but it doesn't amount to much plot and story wise of the seasons because this is all a fresh story to me.
Okay. Well, yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of this. I'm pretty excited to get into this. I don't know if I'm like liking season 2 more than 1 so far. I mean, for me, it's been pretty close. But good, Jason. What do you got? What were your thoughts on it?
So, I mean, I love this. I've been a big fan of this show since it started. I'm a huge fan of the game. I thought this was an excellent episode in so many ways. Um, and what I liked about this is it wasn't an action-oriented episode. This was a character episode. This was a plotting, methodical episode. We don't really get action until the end.
Yeah.
But once we get that action, you got to admit that was a kick-ass fight scene.
No, it was. It was pretty awesome. I mean, I was hyped up once I saw that, like, the Ghoul gave him or showed him the basically the power armor. That was there, and I noticed it was. My question there was about because it's New California Republic branded.
Yes, NCR.
And when they're walking through the town and like they think like, hey, you hear somebody yell out like they're back and stuff like that, like we're good to go. And he's like, the Ghoul tells him, don't sell short brand recognition here. Like, this is all plotted specifically, and I think he chose that specific power suit because the New California Republic and the Brotherhood, they've, I guess they worked together at one point, and now and they've broken off since.
And now they're different factions fighting each other. Not as bad as the Legion, but not great.
Mm-hmm.
So awesome Easter egg for the fans in that scene. Since you bring it up, when they unveil the power armor,
mm-hmm.
the camera work that they're doing that sort of goes over the power armor and shows it, like pans down and you see it, and the music they are playing is the startup for Fallout 4. That music plays while the camera pans down and then pans out to a very similar piece of power armor on one of those yellow racks. So I'm watching it today going, I need to go play Fallout 4 again. I'll be right back.
That's cool. I like that, man. I love the Easter eggs and stuff like that that are peppered in there.
Yeah,
even though they're going over my head specifically because I haven't played any games.
But the fact that they're there, I mean, even if you don't get them,
I appreciate that.
The show is so smart, and we talked about like having a show that sometimes we talked about shows that cater too much to the audience and make you do homework, right? Or movies. That was my big thing with the DCEU when it was existed. Like it made you do homework. Then there's some stuff that is so devoid or so like. We're far removed from the source material that it's like, well, who is this for? And Fallout really is that perfect. It knows how to balance giving the audience what they want, no matter who the audience is.
Yes. Like, again, me and you were both really enjoying the show. We're coming at it from two completely different perspectives. Exactly. I'm someone who has never played the games in my life, and I heard of the title Fallout. And you're knee deep into the franchise, a big fan of it. So it's, it's always interesting with that.
Absolutely. So the story, we'll do it as we always do through character. I'll start with a smaller one because it also has the revelation I should have made. We finally come back to the brother, who was the one who kind of freed all of Bud's buds from Vault 31 and led them up, and then they realized he was kind of lying to them and took him hostage. What I realized is when he was looking at the computer for what like the plan is,
Mm-hmm.
the plan is super mutants. That's what he was looking at.
Oh, wow. Okay,
So
I did not clock that.
and I didn't clock it at first either because it's a blink and you miss it. And I happened to watch those last three Fallout 1 episodes kind of, we covered them all at once, so I didn't have the eye for detail, but I did catch it. It's called FEV, and I caught that on the screen that he was looking. So that is what those buds are there trying to do. So it definitely clouds how I saw the scene because there's that one guy who keeps roiding out, the big guy who keeps beating him up.
Mm-hmm.
So then, and that's pretty much what happens is they capture him. They talk about what to do with them. They talk about maybe killing him. They knock him out. He's really worried about what's going to happen about his vault. The woman who he had made friends with kind of frees him, and he, instead of running, goes and tries to communicate to his vault or his sister or whoever's listening, saying this is happening. Something, and I think it's more. I think he's seen something. I think I don't know. Maybe his vault has to do with mutants. Maybe that's what he was looking at. I don't know what super mutant, but what this has to do with super mutants. I just know that it does. And in the game, super mutants are just people who were experimented on with radiation.
Okay.
So I'm starting to think that he's panicking so much and trying to reach his sister because he found out that something that's going to happen to the vault is connected to creating super mutants.
So they're going to maybe be gassed or something in the water, and they're all going to be turned into them?
Exactly.
Kind of what you're thinking? Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. And that leads into the plot for the vault itself with the one-eyed woman who's in charge, the overseer, as well as Deadpool's roommate, who's the overseer of the other one. Because I remember no one's name. I'm sorry. Even people I can't remember the names. So we find out history about the one-eyed one. She actually was from Canada, but it was she was a refugee escaping. She murdered a bunch of people getting to the United States. Meets Cooper when he is finished kind of extracting that cold fusion from Kyle MacLachlan. We see her meet Kyle MacLachlan, walk off with him. We know that's how she gets the job. So she's cutthroat. She's like Survivor. She doesn't give a shit about anyone. And she makes a deal with Deadpool's roommate to, I will give you 50% of our water, but I want that box that's in Lock and Key in Hank's office.
Yeah,
we don't know what's in that box.
I'm glad you brought that one up because there's something I did want to ask you about that. So what we see from her, and by the way, the whole wedding thing.
Oh,
and
good.
Before that, Chet is doing the dishes, and he finds a pair of glasses from somebody who was taken out from the other vault, and it's put in his garbage disposal. Now he pulls it out, but then he chooses, instead of holding on to this and maybe putting it in his pocket for evidence, he decides to put it back in a garbage disposal and destroys it.
I didn't understand why he did that.
Okay, thank you. Because I thought maybe I couldn't wait to talk to you about this. I wanted to know if there's something I missed. Now, later on at the wedding, he waits to have an entire audience so he can kind of hit her with that gotcha moment. Oh, I found this person's glasses, and they question, hey, that's a big accusation. Where are these glasses? I put it back in a garbage disposal. But then he was I guess in another move, because he realized he fucked up. Because that's what I think it is. I think he is in such fear of her.
Yeah,
I think he was he kind of panicked and decided to get rid of it. Now, if he was thinking more level-headed, he takes that she even says, he tries to talk to her and she's like, oh, I'm working.
Yeah.
Quickly put it in his pocket.
Let's be clear. What he tried to talk to her about was, hey, so I saw that you posted we're getting married tomorrow. And she went, Chet, not now, I'm working. And then, So you're right. He could have. She's clearly not paying attention. He could have put it in his pocket.
he could have did anything in that scene right there. But I'm guessing my assumption is that he did it out of fear. But then his way to rally back on how to kind of like get her with a gotcha thing cracked me up. It's the way that they reveal it. He's like, he pulls out her ID. It's like, she's not even American. She's Canadian. And they're like, oh my God, what the fuck? And like they end and she runs away. I was cracking up at that.
I thought that was hysterical as well. And maybe that's why he didn't keep the glasses. He knew he had the smoking gun. I mean, you know, even putting the joke aside that she's Canadian, this proves that she was alive before the war.
Yeah, because
none of them know.
Years old. Yeah.
Yeah, and none of them, except for the other overseer, know that she is like Vault 31 is just a whole bunch of cryo-frozen people from the past. So I actually thought that was a really cool move by Chet's part.
I thought it was. I was just a little baffled about the glasses decision.
I agree.
And again, I chalked it up to fear and kind of, just chose to accept it right there. And again, unless there's something we find out that I'm not seeing.
Maybe it was because it was the surprise factor for the audience. We saw him destroy the glasses. We didn't see him take the ID. You do have that moment where when he doesn't produce the glasses, the guy who's the minister is like, you're lying. It's cold feet. Yeah, exactly. So maybe that was for the audience to be like, because I was like, no, believe him. Yeah. And then like he pulls that out and it turns everything. So maybe it was a dramatic thing.
Mm-hmm. So also, where do you want to go next? Do you want to go to Lucy and the McClanes, or do you want to go to the Ghoul and
let's go to Lucy and the McClanes, because I think the Ghoul and the Brotherhood, the guy from the Brotherhood, I think that's probably the meatiest thing, or the most fun to talk about. So we'll leave that to the end. So Lucy and her dad continue having this back and forth. Are they happier? What's going on with them? You find out that what he does is it takes out their mental capacity, takes out their memory, and implants whatever from the mainframe they want them to feel. The mainframe is a computer, we're told. And Lucy keeps saying she's going to destroy the mainframe, she's going to finish it. Hank keeps calling her bluff. And I think she is, and I want to get your opinion on this. I think she absolutely is being convinced by Hank that this is the best way to do it until she sees that guy from the NCR.
Yes, I agree with you. I think she is, buying what he's selling right here, like, because especially in that moment where she says, well, you have there's something going on up above, and you have the means to stop it.
Yeah.
With your, with your experiments and with your mind control thing, technically you can stop it. So maybe it's a means to an end. But then, once she sees that these people have, like, someone she ran into, like, has no recollection of her at all. Once she sees how far the mind control has gone, like, these people aren't even like themselves anymore. They're pretty much just mindless Hank robots, flesh robots. Then she's like, all right, enough is enough. You definitely gotta, it's not worth it, basically.
Yeah. And I thought that was a cool moment, because she has that moment too where she's like, the Legion, they're out there, they're gonna hurt a lot of people, but you could stop that. Like, she is buying it. But then when she has that conversation, she asks that guy, do you remember who I am? Not really. What's the New California Republic? I don't know. And you're right, she sees it's not him. And what I like too is, and this shows her growth, she doesn't jump on it at first. She lets it go. She continues to let her dad think that she trusts him. She undoes his handcuffs, and because he's saying, the New California Republic, the NCR, the New California Republic, the Legion, they're all the same. And she goes, you're right. She unlocks his cuffs. She goes, one is an insane cult who's trying to kill people, and the other is problematic. And she slaps the cuffs on the stove, and she's like, you've gone too far. I'm ending this. I thought it was a great twist. I didn't see that coming.
Well, the other thing I didn't see coming is I guess we could say it's related to Lucy's storyline, is what she finds at the end.
And that's it. Yep. She goes, and the mainframe is. So the whole time we've been doing this, we've been getting the flashbacks to Coop and his wife and how they got to cold fusion. He talks to the useless but good, well-intentioned senator who was trying to bring an end to this. And she sets something up so he can give it to the president, who is played by Clarence.
Not
Clarence
Clemens.
Not Clarence Clemens. I'm blanking on his name.
I got you. I'll pull it over.
Thank you. And he gives it to him, and then you fucking cut to Lucy opening that door, and the mainframe is that woman's head.
Yeah, all right. It's good because Angie had asked me too, like, if that was, the senator's, head, and I'm like, yeah, I think it definitely was, and I guess she's the mainframe that's controlling this whole thing.
I'm guessing so. Clancy Brown, that's what it is.
Clancy Brown, there we go.
Clancy Brown. Yeah, she must be the mainframe. I don't know why or how. I mean, I strongly suspect that the president just gives this cold fusion to the people who drop the bombs anyway.
Yeah, because even when Cooper sees it in current day as the Ghoul, when he sees that Titus has it, he immediately is like, where the fuck did you get that?
Yeah.
Because he knows, and they're showing it simultaneously. He had the cold fusion 200 years ago, and now, like, he's seen that it's, come back around. He wants to give it to Lucy, and, there's that trade that's made, which was interesting.
That's a great moment, too, because he sees that Titus has something in his hand. The Ghoul does. Ghoul pulls out his gun, puts it to his head, says, "Show me what's in your hand." He shows it. Ghoul sees it. He tells him, "I want to give this to Lucy. She's a good person. She'll know what to do with it." Ghoul says, "Okay." Puts his gun back. Brings them. Says this whole thing like, "You want to save the girl? Okay, we got to get this the firepower. There are 3 Deathclaws standing in our way. You know what that means." They go. They get the firepower, but what he then says before he gives Titus anything, including the armor, is he says, "Now you got to make a choice. You want to give the best person you've ever met that because you think she'll know what to do with it, but to save the best person you've ever met, you've got to give that to a bad person."
Yeah.
And once Titus sees what he's selling, he gives it right over to him.
Yeah, no hesitation.
And I think that's really interesting. And then you get the fight, and then I don't know what's going on. We'll mention it quickly, but the thing that's going on with the Ghoul that was traveling with Titus, who has that mouth on his shoulder and his arm falls off. I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on with that guy, but that's freaky.
He's in some fucked up shit because what happens later on, he's supposed to be like their sniper, and his fucking arm just randomly falls off. And what made me laugh is how he is talking to Cooper, Ghoul, and he's trying to like sympathize with him and relate to him and stuff like that. And I think he's just trying to find out more about like, hey, you're an experienced guy with this. You look like, you kind of got your shit together. Like, help me out here because I don't know what the fuck is going on with me. And when he shows him that little mouth on his shoulder, Cooper kind of looks at him like disgusted, like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
It's like, this guy's not a ghoul. Something else is going on.
He's something more. He's a mutant ghoul or some shit.
Something. But I'm curious. Maybe he's going to be like a super mutant. Maybe he's one of the experiments. I don't know.
Possible.
So then you get that awesome moment with the reveal of the armor, and as I said, the music, and it clearly that was for the fans of the game. Then Cooper and and the soldier go marching out. Titus, they go marching out.
Mm-hmm.
The Deathclaws again look amazing. Titus, like watching him go blow to blow with that Deathclaw, and he's got like the razors on the arms,
mm-hmm.
and then like both of them are getting their licks in. He gets stuck in the, and this is, I thought this was awesome. He gets stuck in a car, and the Deathclaw loses all interest in him and turns to Cooper, who's trying to get into the casino
Yeah.
because he needs to get access, and like he can't do anything. Like he shoots at the Deathclaw, it does nothing. Deathclaw's about to kill him, and Titus comes and like stops him, winds up taking his head off. And there's like this great moment between him and Coop where Cooper just does the "You saved my life," he gives him that, and Titus gives him the love back. I thought that was a nice moment between them. And then he goes into the casino, and Titus starts fucking picking a fight with the other Deathclaws.
Yeah, and he's going, like you mentioned, he's going blow to blow with them. He's sawing shit off and everything like that. And because Cooper wanted him as the muscle, because he knows he can't go blow to blow with these Deathclaws. So let me just get this guy, and yada yada. But then later on, though, like when he goes around, and then he ends up finding a robot that basically is the head of the guy, basically the big bad of the season, who he's basically worked with back in the day. It was like the head of Robco.
Yep, the head of Robco, the guy who created these chips, the guy who is the Lord of New Vegas, the guy who promised that he was not the person who dropped the bombs. He only wanted to ensure that Las Vegas was safe.
Yes, and man, it's he definitely reminded me of Armin Zola in The Winter Soldier.
Yes, absolutely. And it's funny because Al was watching it with me, and he had never seen any of the other ones before. But in school, he's reading 1984, and when the image come up, he went, "That's Big Brother," and it made me realize, like, yeah, that's probably where they kind of modeled it after, was Big Brother.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so I mean, this thing's lining up to be some pretty wild finale.
Yeah, I can't believe we're already at the finale. And this is such a great show. I hope we get another season. I hope it continues. There's so much.
I'm pretty sure it
so
got
much for it
greenlit.
to do.
I'm pretty sure they greenlit it before this even aired. Season two even started.
Okay, good. Oh, and I didn't even talk about how delightful it was watching Lucy be a shitty driver in a golf cart.
Yeah, so what cracked me up is when he mentions, "Let's go take a ride on a golf cart." She's like, "What is a golf cart?"
He's like, "Oh, you're gonna have so much fun."
Yeah, exactly. Oh man!
And again, I want to point out, no one can play Sinister Sweet like Kyle MacLachlan. No one.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm trying. Yeah, he's kind of got that cornered. I think he's got the market cornered on that one.
He's so good in this.
He really is. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Come Tuesday night, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up watching this immediately when it drops.
Yeah, the only reason I don't is because I got to cover it, so I got to leave it, so I want to be fresh in my mind. But maybe I'll watch it twice because I am really curious how it ends.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so then let's shift over to the MCU, shall we? So the latest show on Disney Plus dropped the first of this season of the year. Wonder Man is here, and they dropped the entire series, the whole 8-episode run on Disney Plus on Tuesday night at 9:00. And like, not something that Marvel Studios has done very often, where they kind of just drop the whole thing all at once. So that kind of had some people with some trepidation of the quality of this or not, like what was going to happen. From what I understood, basically they just didn't want it to run 8 weeks and then run into Daredevil. Like, they were pretty locked in on when they wanted to release Daredevil.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Season 2, so I guess that's what it is, or I'm surprised they didn't do 2 episodes a week or something like that. But the reviews came out. They were glowing. Everything was there. Yeah, I will say straight out, I really enjoyed the shit out of this show. I thought it was really good. I would probably put it up there. in a top tier of the MCU TV shows. For sure. I'm not going to say it's WandaVision. I don't think it's Daredevil Born Again. But I would probably put it, like with Miss Marvel, which I really enjoyed, or like maybe like is like what I would put right after that. Loki. It's just very different. Like this, to me, this series felt like an A24 superhero show. If that makes sense.
It's absolutely, because this is, in effect, this is not a superhero show. This is a character-driven drama about a guy with superpowers, and that's very different.
Yeah, and I think the driving force behind this is the performances of our leads. Simon Williams and Trevor Slattery, like everything leans
holy shit
on both of them, and boy does it work. It really, really, really works. And they carry this thing, and they do it to perfection. And I want to say this as someone, and I know we didn't properly review Iron Man 3 yet on this. We're going to this year. I can assure you that's happening. I know it's happening this year. We'll do that leading up to Avengers, because obviously we have an Avengers movie in December. But I will quickly admit, for a character whose existence in Iron Man 3 is my main reason for disliking that film, what they did with Trevor Slattery since Iron Man 3 has been absolutely astonishing. How I've done a complete 180 on my view of this character. Like, he's awesome in this.
It's a great character. It's just not the character we wanted or expected or even needed in Iron Man 3. We'll talk about that when we get there. But I think what saved his character was Shang-Chi, because we get a proper Mandarin in that. We know the fans are no longer pissed that was the Mandarin, because now it wasn't. We got a Mandarin. And now he's kind of just... Actually, I was going to say he's kind of a joke, but he's not. Because he's a real actor going through real things. They made him into a character.
He's a real actor.
Actor, exactly. And the fact that this movie is contingent on his friendship. It's him and Simon's friendship that kind of comes out of this deceit that happens. And I'm watching this going, A, this guy who plays Simon is magnificent, because he's going toe-to-toe with Ben Kingsley acting-wise.
Yeah.
And B, he's also doing something which is really hard. Like, he's playing an actor who's supposed to be a great actor, but a bit too much to handle on set.
Yeah.
And it's really hard. Like, as a writer, I know that when you're writing, it's hard to go, I'm writing a character who's a writer, and I'm going to show you good writing, and that, because then you're saying, this is good, and automatically it sets expectations, and you have to be really, really good to pull that off. This guy plays a character who's supposed to be a good actor, and is such a good actor that he sells it. And I think that can't be understated, because that's one of the hardest things to do as an actor.
Yeah, from what I've heard and seen, basically online a little bit, is that there are some people who are actors who are familiar with the inside of the business and feel like this is a very faithful portrayal of what actors go through and things like that when they're trying to get roles. So I think that's pretty cool to see that, where they kind of like, because this show's a very meta show, right? Like the premise here is that in the MCU, an old superhero movie called Wonder Man exists. And when Simon as a child sees this, and it's his father showing him an old superhero film that he loved as a kid, and you could see, because the first episode opens with Simon we see the movie of Wonder Man briefly, and then we see Simon watching it and his face lighting up and glowing as he's watching it with his dad and everything like that. I'm sure part of it is his relationship, because we find out he loses his dad, as time goes on. So I'm sure that's part of why he has such admiration for the film Wonder Man, and we catch up with him in current day, and he's, you know, an actor, and I feel like I just have to say it like that when we're covering this actor. That he's on American Horror Story, and you're like you mentioned, he's a bit too much. He's trying to give so much. He's trying to create the inspiration and the background for his character. And meanwhile, it's like, dude, you're just a guy in this. Like, what are you doing? And he ends up getting fired because of it. It's just like, dude, enough. We don't need this guy like to hold up the production.
And it's his friendship with Trevor Slattery, because when he meets Trevor Slattery. And we do find out that Trevor's there spying on him. He's getting information. That's part of the plot. But Trevor tells him, like, because he keeps going in his own head. Like, well, I think my character would do this and do that and do this. And Trevor's like, just read the lines. Where is that in the lines? And I think that's super cool, because that kind of that laying the groundwork of giving that perspective in that first episode is what lands him the role of Wonder Man in the last episode.
Yeah, it's basically, it's funny. It kind of is somewhat like when you're playing. Sometimes when you're playing sports, it's less thinking, more doing. Like specifically hitting. It's like when you're hitting a baseball or softball. It's like, usually we'll tell somebody it looks like they're thinking a lot. Like, hey, less thinking, more hitting. And that's kind of what he's saying. Like, less thinking, more acting. Like, just read the lines and go with it, and it'll become an authentic performance. That's there, that'll come through. And you're right, it does pay off later on once he lands the role, of Wonder Man here. But you're right, Trevor is there, sent by the Department of Damage Control, because we do find out that they picked him off when he landed, because he was returning to Hollywood because he wanted to reinvigorate his acting career to make his mother proud, and there's the character development with Trevor. Since we've met him as the Mandarin initially, has been probably more than, unfortunately, in a way it's unfortunate that it's been more character development than some of the heroes we've gotten in the last couple of phases.
I agree, because even just that one episode we get about what led him, because they give us what led him to take that job as the Mandarin. Yep. And he was a guy who was completely fucked up on drugs and drinking. And he owed a lot of money to people that you can't survive owing a lot of money to, which that does come back in one of these episodes.
Yeah.
And he kind of takes it because he's got no choice.
Yeah, and then, and he's also, in his current day, we find out he has no choice again, right? Like, they tell him, like, the Department from Damage Control catches up with him, and they're like, listen, dude, either you do this, you're going to go finish your prison sentence, because let's not forget, in All Hail the King, you were broken out of prison. Okay,
and I love that adventure
would shut. And I'm glad it is. And also, when you were captured by the real Mandarin in Shang-Chi, you were on the run. Like that didn't count as your, like that had nothing to do with us. Like, we're still holding you, still got prison time. So we need you to go because we've deemed Simon Williams as a threat. He's super powered, he's on the loose, or he's kind of out in the wild, if you want to say out in public. And he has these powers, but we can't prove it. And, they go back to, like, we find out from Simon's past, there was a fire when he was like 13 years old and stuff like that. And there's been instances. And throughout this, we do find out little by little that he seems to have moments where he's so angry and he just is, he kind of just lets loose on it. So I can see where they're, again, based on that, Damage Control has this information. Someone like that, again, if they're not honed in their powers, they could be a threat there,
right?
Not trained properly and whatnot. So I can understand their thing, but they are using Simon to kind of bring him in to spy on Simon. I'm sorry, they're using Trevor to spy on Simon there. But I do, Simon and Trevor form a real friendship, though, because Trevor doesn't want to do this.
No, not at all. And Trevor, so we find out that the reason Simon really needs this secret kept, because he has no idea the Department of Damage Control is after him, it's because, and this is the whole episode, there was a super powered act guy who got into acting, and he pretty much he was a portal. People could pass through him.
Yeah.
And
Doorman.
Doorman, that's it. That's a great episode. I was watching that episode going, where the fuck is this going? How's this tying in? And then once I saw it, I was like, perfect. This is exactly what we needed. And you see like him start as a doorman to a club. Josh Gad is kind of friends with him. He
Ding
winds
dong.
up ding dong, exactly. He winds up getting these powers of being able to pass through things or letting people pass through him. He saves a whole bunch of people, including Josh Gad at the club by letting them. They're stuck in there for a fire. They pass through him. He becomes. He becomes famous. He gets his catchphrase "Ding Dong." Josh Gad wants him to come back for the sequel. Clearly, he's using his superpowers instead of CGI, and Josh Gad disappears inside of him. And because of that, they go, okay, you know what? Metahumans or superpowered humans can't act. And that is why Simon is so scared. And when Trevor finds that out, Trevor actually gets recorded evidence of that he's superpowered, and he destroys it.
Yeah, because Trevor, again, his morality in here, and we do get a lot of one thing I really do love, and it works for me as a gag, and also just like, again, character motivation for him throughout this is everyone recognizing him everywhere as the Mandarin.
Yes.
I cracked up every time it happened, and I just love the fact that they went back to that and they reminded you, because Iron Man 3 was a long time ago now.
Yep.
And Shang-Chi, unfortunately, feels like it was a long time ago now.
No, right, exactly. But it not, and this is how well done it was. At first, it feels like, yeah, this is a reminder, but it's foreshadowing. It's letting you know where this is going, because every time he gets recognizes, yes, I was the Mandarin. I was a long time ago. I moved past it. I've done my time. And then he kind of admits that that's a role that scarred him. That's a role that traumatized him. It stuck with him. He regrets it. He never wants to go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
And which makes what he does at the end of this so beautiful.
Yes, and I admit that I did not see that part coming, and it did make me smile once I saw it started, because basically at that point in time, in that point in the series, we see that Simon has a moment on the set of Wonder Man, and he has he kind of blows up the set basically, and Damage Control's like, "Ooh, this is it." Agent Cleary's like, "All right, let's go. Like, we got him red-handed now." They go down there, and then he decides, Trevor goes ahead and suits up as the Mandarin once again, and he has a lesson for everyone here, and like he goes into this whole thing, and he basically takes the fall for Simon to kind of cover it up, and everyone sees this now, and Damage Control's like, well, we have proof, we got somebody red-handed who's admitting to this, versus someone who we suspect, and we're going to just kind of have to let him take the fall, for this one. But they're still kind of like, they're going to try to find a way to get Simon somehow another way at some point. Yeah.
And he does say, the guy who's blackmailing Trevor goes, we both know that you didn't do this. Why are you covering for him? And Trevor just keeps going like, you knew I was the Mandarin from the beginning. Like,
he basically tries to do like a reverse like Kaiser Sosa type thing.
Right.
He's like, no, I was really the Mandarin pretending to be Trevor Slattery, which I thought was genius.
It was absolute genius, and it's enriched so much, because the reason that the reason that Simon is like losing it is because he finds out at that point that Trevor's kind of been working against him. Yeah. Right? And he feels really betrayed. That's funny, because every line that we see from the movie they're doing is foreshadowing for what happens, right? Yeah. Because they play mentor and mentee, where the mentor sells the mentee out. And when we get to that moment where like Trevor can't talk him down, and Simon does that, Trevor calls him and he says, "Look, I'm sorry, and I wish you wouldn't have done that, because now it has to come to this. But I'm not like, he pretty much like, I'm sorry, I'm not letting you take the fall." And then like that's in the Trevor Slattery voice, and then it's the fucking smash cut to the Mandarin video, And just that juxtaposition of like, I'm really sorry, but I wish we wouldn't have done that, but I can't let you take the fall. To greetings, I'm the Mandarin. And again, that shows such great acting by Ben Kingsley that he could pull both of those off, and it seems like two different people.
Yeah, his work is in this whole thing is just it's pretty tremendous. I would say. So yeah, then Simon ends up landing the role as Wonder Man. We see the premiere comes and stuff like that. And I also want to say that the stuff around Simon Williams, though, his whole story arc throughout this season or mini series or whatever we're going to call it, because I mean, at the moment it's just what it is. It's one series or one season, whatever it's going to be. Wherever we're going to find out Simon Williams will be, going forward, which I have some thoughts on and some hopes maybe. Rick will be very happy with some of this. And I can't believe I would be saying this, but I'll save that in a minute. Is his whole thing of him with his, the connection with his father and, Wonder Man and everything like that. And again, I think that's definitely what drives it. And then his home life where he has his mother, the whole thing with his brother, basically saying his whole acting thing is bullshit. Like, give it up and join the real workforce. Like, he kind of poo-poos his whole an audition. Oh, you mean like a second interview? Like, he's just constantly shitting on him. And he has this whole struggle with his brother where he's like trying to earn the approval of his brother. And when it comes back around to the premiere and you see the brothers kind of like tearing and stuff like that while he's watching it, I thought that was awesome. And then he tells him how proud he was after, because now he has arrived. Like Simon Williams, like, and again, this show being so meta, it's like a lot of like you could look at Chris Hemsworth, even in Chris Evans, to an extent, almost Robert Downey Jr., whatever. Like when you land this big superhero role and it's, you have your choice, you have your pick of whatever the hell you want to do, because everyone's going to be lining up. It makes you a star. And this made Simon Williams in the MCU like the biggest movie star. He's the hot name at the moment. And I think it was awesome. Like just the way it's portrayed, like how meta this show works for the MCU even at this point in time, like it's reflecting back a bit. I thought was really, really smart. Like it was a really interesting way to bring this character from the comics and adapt him into the MCU. And what I also love that after we're this many years in and this felt fresh again. This was nothing like anything we've seen before. And we've discussed this many times, both on the show and off. That's when we feel like the MCU is firing on all cylinders, is when it's giving us something within this shared universe that still feels fresh.
Agreed. And this absolutely does. Like I watch this having, because I don't unless I know I get like previews here, I don't watch them. So I went into Wonder Man knowing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how I watched the show this season. I watched the first episode, I would say Wednesday night, but I put it on late, and I really liked it. And I was like, but I'm tired. I can't watch anymore. I got to go to sleep and go work tomorrow. And then I put it on earlier on Thursday, and I watched everything else. And it wasn't until about 3 episodes in that I was like, oh, this is a character-driven drama about the acting industry and the Hollywood industry and friends. And it's just incidental that one of them has superpowers. And when I had that realization, I was like, this is so interesting. Because, look, I like the beat-em-up stuff. I like action, but we've seen so much beat-em-up action and superhero stuff that it was really refreshing to get this character-driven buddy drama. You know what I'm saying? With just that like works completely based on how good the two acting leads are. Like this, because there's no set pieces, because it's not like this isn't a plug and play. If they didn't have the right cast, this fails.
Yes, and it's I think the mirroring and inspiration where they, because Trevor and Simon meet at a screening of Midnight Cowboy.
Awesome, yes.
There's the music that comes around at the end of it. Like there is, I think, some parallels you can draw right there. Like, like you really can. I think that there was a really smart way to to go about this. And I'm sorry. And at the end of the finale, after the thing, we find that Trevor is locked away by the Department of Damage Control. He's in a cell, basically in a black box. And I wasn't sure I didn't pick up on it right away what was happening, but we find out Simon meets with this worker who he just wants to mirror and he wants to get inspiration. He's hitting him with the whole acting thing and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, maybe this is for Simon's next movie. I actually was all bought in on that. I don't know about you. And we find out it's to get into the Department of Damage Control to use his powers to free Trevor from it. So Trevor is on the run again, but whatever. But we also find out Simon learned he basically is honing in his powers now because he learns how to fly. Because they fly out of there. They bust out of there completely.
Yeah. And I like that. I like that you see him more powerful. You see him succeed because Wonder Man does well. And we didn't mention this, but I fucking love this moment. Like, in the second episode, it's introduced that Trevor Slattery's a guy that he used to work with on a show was Joey Pantoliano.
Yes. Joey Pants.
And then, just call me Joey Pants. Everyone does.
Yeah.
And then you have that moment where Trevor and Simon are talking. He's like, and Trevor's like, so then who got cast in my part? He's like, it was Joey Pants. I'm sorry. And then you cut to it, and it's Joey Pants in that role. So, like, the cameos were so fun. And the fact that Joey Pants was like, yeah, I'm going to go and make myself look like a benevolent douchebag, because that's kind of what he is.
Yeah. Yeah. When he mentions calling him Joey Pants, I thought of you right away, and I was cracking up because when you were rewatching Sopranos.
That's right.
I thought that was
Joey Pants on the horse.
Yeah. Well, also though, let's not forget though, in the multiverse, he was Ben Urich in Daredevil.
Shit, I forgot about that.
Yep. Now, for me, I know again, I literally have one criticism on this series that I'll share in a second. It was just one thing that I just it was a little frustrating, but that was it. But there were some people who were like trying to use that as a knock, where like there's a lot of references made throughout the show that was kind of like, oh, well, this actor is in the MCU, and they were in that project. Guess what? I thought about it like Last Action Hero. Guess what? In their version of it, he wasn't.
Right, that's it.
Okay, so that's it. Just move on. It's not that big a deal.
And the fact is, it's not like this show isn't self-aware. This show is going for something. And you might say it doesn't work for you, and that's fine. It's not going to land for everyone. But honestly, if this show, with what it did, introduced me to Chris Evans, the actor.
The actor?
I would just accept that there was an actor named Chris Evans in this universe, and they were kind of poking fun that yes, this is the guy who played Captain America, because that's what this particular show is. This is self-aware, meta, having fun with actors versus roles versus how you see them in the MCU versus this and that. Like, the whole thing is just said. Like, he's not Wonder Man. He's an actor who was touched on an emotional level by an old character named Wonder Man. Like, this is a meta show, so I wouldn't call that a ding. That's just this, whether it works or not for you, that this show tried something.
So while this is an origin story for Wonder Man, because I do also, the way I took this as, this is, a child and an actor, Simon as a child, becomes, Wonder Man becomes his guy. That's his thing. He actually gets to become Wonder Man on multiple levels. Because when he gets his suit and he gets the glasses that are from the original film and everything like that.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
I thought that was really cool. He gets the comics accurate Wonder Man suit, like in the reboot and everything like that, and the remake, which I thought was cool. And by the end of it, he is essentially Wonder Man.
Yeah.
Right? Like he basically is the character in real life in a way. In the MCU real life there. I only wish that they would have explained how he got his powers, because I think the only explanation I have right now is that he was born with them, which would lead me to believe is in the MCU, Simon Williams is going to be a mutant, which I don't care. I mean,
That's yeah.
fine.
To be honest with you, that's kind of what I assumed, and I was going to text you, and then I just looked it up myself to see if Simon Williams was a mutant in the comic. He is not.
No. He
Uh,
actually gets his powers from Baron Zemo.
yes, yeah, that's and he starts off as a bad guy, then sacrifices himself for the Avengers, and then they resurrect him, and he becomes a movie star and shacks up with the Scarlet Witch, apparently.
Yes.
But this is so different than that. I'd be okay if this is like, this is one of the ways they're just sort of floating in, foreshadowing mutants, right? We're not going to use the M word until we get the X-Men. We're not going to give you anything, but we are going to say, hey, some people are just born with powers.
Yeah,
and I'm okay
that's
with
fine. That. Yeah, no, I don't need. No, I wasn't requiring the comics accurate way he got his powers, because again, the Baron Zemo in the MCU, no, that's not happening.
Although, wouldn't it be great to see them dancing together?
I would like to see him run into, like, he could have ran into him at a club in like LA or something like in Hollywood, and yeah,
that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just I just want an explanation at some point. Now, I'm also hoping it's not going to be eons before we get to see Simon Williams again, because
Same.
one of the things we both agree on, like the various reasons of why the last couple of phases of the MCU have, been a little inconsistent, is that I just feel like you introduced all these new characters, which was necessary, because I feel like you're moving on, for more, for better or for worse, you're moving on to the next group of heroes. But you got to follow up on some of them, otherwise no one's going to care about them.
That's the thing. Yeah, and I think that's where the MCU has dropped the ball, and I hope they don't do it here. Why the first three phases seemed like they were coherent is because they introduced the core five, and those core five drove the phase.
Yeah.
After phase 4, it's been like, all right, so here's this one, here's that one, here's Shang-Chi, here's this one, here's that one. And it's like, okay, I like a lot of these movies, but where are they now? Like, as you said, Shang-Chi seems a long time ago, and it is.
It is.
Like, where's this character? Like, I like that they keep introducing new characters, but at some point they got to kind of stop and go, let's actually focus and meditate on some of the characters we have focused on. And I think that's where the disconnect is they're not doing what they did in the first 3 phases of choosing the core characters to focus on. They're kind of just throwing lots of characters at the wall to see who sticks. And that's not the way to do it.
Yeah, now we know in Avengers Doomsday, due to Share Watch and all the other stuff that they've done, like we know Shang-Chi, we're finally going to get to see him again. We're going to see the Fantastic Four again. Again, Fantastic Four, we just got introduced to them. We're going to see them again a year later. Okay, cool. Like, that's kind of the way you have to kind of build this. Daredevil got properly acknowledged that he's in the MCU. We're getting a season 2. We're going to apparently get a new season every year. Cool. Momentum. So, like, you can't drop this with Wonder Man. Now, ideas, because the producer behind this, who directed a couple of the episodes, though, also is, and I want to make sure I say, is Destin Daniel Cretton, who was the director of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. He is now taking over Spider-Man because he directed Spider-Man Brand New Day. He was supposed to direct Avengers Kang Dynasty before that got changed to Avengers Doomsday, and now the Russo brothers are back for that. So apparently Kevin Feige is a big fan of his stuff because he's letting him do other projects, kind of like how Ryan Coogler has the Wakanda projects. I mean, this dude, Destin Daniel Cretton, all right, he's done Shang-Chi. Well, hopefully he'll do the sequel, but now he's doing Spider-Man, and now he's done Wonder Man, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, the 2 things I've seen, I liked.
Yeah, and I have no doubt Spider-Man is going to be pretty awesome. We're excited for that. It's Spider-Man, of course, and the MCU hasn't missed with Spider-Man yet.
No, not yet.
What if they have a Disney Plus series for the West Coast Avengers.
Oh, I would.
Same.
Rick would have to come on. Rick would have to come on and cover that with us. And B, I would love that. That's awesome because they've introduced a bunch of the West Coast Avengers at this point, right?
I'm just saying, you got Hawkeye's out there, and he could be the guy who's the link from the original Avengers. Because the other thing, too, is that we've seen now, and we're going to see in Avengers Doomsday, the MCU is finally acknowledging there can be multiple Avengers teams like there are in the comics. Right? It's not just one roster and that's it. Like, yes, these are the main Avengers, sure. You could have the West Coast Avengers. In the comics, there's the Uncanny Avengers. Like, there's other Avengers teams. So
there are teams in the comic of the Avengers that Ed and I belong to because everyone's an Avenger in the comic.
At some point, yeah. At some point in time, everyone and their mother's a thing. So, man, you could go with Wonder Man, right? Because easily he can get recruited. The guy has superpowers.
Yeah.
You can train him, yada yada. You want to throw Kate Bishop in there.
Yep.
Instead of really going with like the young Avengers, maybe you just make
She-Hulk.
them the West Coast. She-Hulk is on the West Coast too, right? Like you can find a way to. There's plenty there.
And I would love.
Vision. You have White Vision running around.
White Vision. And I would love to see She-Hulk. I think Wonder Man is what She-Hulk wanted to be, and I liked She-Hulk a lot. I'm not shitting on it. I know a lot of people have problems with it. I liked it a lot. I thought it worked. I consider it like top, like in the middle tier. It's top mid tier for me.
Okay.
For these shows. But I was watching this going, I think this is what She-Hulk wanted to be. Like a really clever meta commentary on what it is to be superpowered, but also try to be professional.
In the real world.
In the real world. I think to an extent it did well with it, She-Hulk, but I think when we talked about it on the show, it had its drawbacks. But I think the MCU can do this. They can now meld those two together. So I would love to see a West Coast Avengers, specifically just to see those two characters interact.
Yeah, and again, like the plus the thing too is like with the Young Avengers, it seemed like that was something they were setting up at one point. Some of them have kind of aged out now because again, you letting this happen you can't pull a Stranger Things.
No,
Haley Steinfeld is like pregnant now. She's going to be a mother. Like, it's kind of like. Again, she's in her 20s still, but still, you see what I'm saying? Like, there are some of them are getting, like, hey, then go with it. Go with, again, Hawkeye, want to go with Clint Barton as, like, maybe the guy who sets them up. And then you can go Miss Marvel, Wonder Man. Like, you can find a way to, all these random, Shang-Chi should 100% be part of the West Coast Avengers. Like,
and he's on the West Coast.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's already there. And I know Kate Bishop's on the East Coast, but whatever. You can make some transition. It's fine. Because you also saw, like, Kate Bishop and Miss Marvel have already been kind of like recruiting. So you can just pivot it. You never said what they were recruiting for. And again, that could end up turning to be, and I know, yes, Miss Marvel's in Jersey. But again, you can get them to maybe branch off and they're like, hey, we can kind of move out west. And actually, hold on, though. In Daredevil and Born Again, her dad mentions that she was in California.
Yes, he does.
Boom. Like, it's kind of there. Like, and I don't know, maybe this is what they're thinking in the background, but like, I haven't read this anywhere or anything. Just kind of like spitballing. Like, Kevin Feige, it's all there, dude.
If that's what happens, you heard it here first. That's all I'm saying.
We pieced together the puzzle before anybody.
There's
a bazillion accounts out there. Somebody else may have. But you would give Rick one of his dreams. Or you can give, and dude, you can make Moon Knight one of the West Coast Avengers. Boom, there you go. Another character.
Yeah. Right. I mean, use some of these characters you've set up and forgotten about.
Yeah. That's it. That's the easy way to do it. Just bring them together and you can give them their own, maybe a Disney Plus series, which is what I would want to see. Or, you can make it something like a movie that's like this Marvel special presentation thing. Whatever the hell you want to do. But bring them together as the West Coast Avengers. That would be sick.
I agree. And actually, I think it would be a fun show in the vein of like Wonder Man and She-Hulk, like
Yeah,
the West Coast Avengers being a meta commentary on what it would be like to be part of a superhero team.
yeah. There's plenty of stuff there, and you know, like again, the West Coast Avengers exist because the Avengers proper just can't be everywhere all at once. So you have multiple Avengers teams. That's all.
Yeah, and you're right. They opened that up with Thunderbolts, the new Avengers, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
I'd
know.
love to see that.
Yeah, because I'm hoping something gets announced for Wonder Man, his next appearance, at least in the next month or so. Like, I don't want to hear silence. Like that would suck.
That would absolutely.
Because yeah, the other way going about it would be just announce a Wonder Man season 2.
Just
That
yeah,
also
just
would've
give
been-
us something.
Yeah, give us something, man. Because I'm pretty sure I haven't seen anything about him popping up in Avengers Doomsday, which is, again, from what we know of him right now, would be a pretty big leap for someone
Yeah.
who has not any superhero stuff at all, no training, no nothing, to just randomly jump into that immediately.
No, I don't want to see him in that. I want to see like because that's taking this character from a drama with
Yeah.
superpowers and dropping him into a superhero movie. And if that's what they're going to do, there needs to be a bridge.
Yeah.
Like I want to see more character work because like you just throw him in as a superpowered body in a fight. It's like that's not this guy. I don't think as powerful as he is, I don't think he can hold himself in a fight just because of and having nothing to do with the power, having to do with him, having to do with his character, his perceived shortcomings, the fact that he's so OCD, the fact that he might actually be on the spectrum. I was actually going to ask you if you thought that he might be on the spectrum with like how into character he gets. Like that's what I want to see explored. I don't want to see him mindlessly punching robots.
Yeah, I mean, he might be. I mean, that's also a possibility. Like, you know, Simon Williams could be. But also wanted to note as well, actor who plays Simon Williams, Yahya Abdul Mateen II. This dude was Black Manta in the DC EU. I mean, which is gone. But remember, we liked him and we felt
He
he
was
got the
great.
shit end of the stick in
Yep.
both of those movies. He was also Dr. Manhattan in the Watchmen HBO series.
Which I didn't realize. I didn't realize any of this till Walter told me after when I was telling him about the show.
Yeah,
I didn't
he's
realize
been
it was the
around the
same
block in all of this. And this is his. I think that this is his best performance out of all of it.
He's phenomenal. Like phenomenal. I cannot overstate how good he is in this. And I forgot he was Black Manta. So I walked in forgetting who he was.
Mhm.
I loved him as Black Manta. He was also in I don't know if you ever watched Black Mirror, but he was in a pretty famous Black Mirror episode, which if you never see, I'm not going to describe it, but he's also really good in that. He is so goddamn talented.
Yeah, he's a really good actor, man. I hope this also again, he's done other stuff this too. He was also in the new. Did you see the latest Candyman?
No, but yeah, everyone keeps telling me he's Candyman in that, and I think I might want to now just to see him.
You should, and I don't want to spoil anything with that, but that movie, there's a twist.
Okay,
With that you should definitely check it out.
I'll check it out. Yeah, I will, especially now that I know this guy's in it. Because I just like watching him act.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
Actor. And again, like going toe to toe with Ben Kingsley, who is canonically considered one of the best actors of all time, and you know, being able to be just as good as him, because I really do think they are on equal par here. That says a lot for this guy, for Yahya. Like, it really does.
Yeah, he's excellent, man. Super talented dude. So listen, you're watching this, assuming you're into the comic book stuff too. Highly recommend Wonder Man.
Yep.
It's an easy watch too, because every episode's only like 25 to 35 minutes, and it's 8 episodes.
Quick.
Dude, it's like a long movie. It just
Yep.
And the thing is, I will say too that watching it, and I'm not a binge guy, but I did watch episodes 1 and 2 the night it premiered. Like 5 minutes after it dropped, I was really excited, so I did watch the first 2, and like you, I'm like, all right, I got to get up the next day, so I'm going to save the rest. But then when I got into Friday is when I was able to knock out like 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Then I got pulled away and then had to watch the finale yesterday. It's an easy watch, but I also can understand why they released them together because the length of the episodes, it would have. I don't know what the reaction would have been if we had to like dissect each 35-minute episode. That may have not worked for this.
I agree.
So
I
I
agree.
can kind of understand why.
I actually think this was a perfect MCU binge like series because it's not action heavy, it's character heavy. They found great buttons. Like I found myself at the end of every episode going, I got to see what happens next.
Yep.
So they found great buttons on that. But I think you're right. Like, because it's only at 20, 25 minutes. Like, if we were doing this episode by episode, what would we say? We'd say good things, but like, this episode with Joey Pants is in it. That's fun. Let's talk about that. But like, we don't really get the whole scope of it until the end. So, and I think this is a show that you don't really appreciate how good it is until you've gotten to the end.
Yeah, because everything pays off. Everything
Right.
pays off in the end. So, all right. So, anything else to add on before we wrap this up?
I will simply add on that America, I have been the Mandarin the whole time. The lessons that we have given you today are that character-driven superhero shows can work. Thus endeth the lesson.
That was well done. I like that.
Thank you.
You are an actor.
I am an actor.
Oh, man, I love it. All right, so that does do it for us then this evening. Thanks for joining us as always. If you liked what you heard here and everything like that, subscribe on YouTube and also follow us on Facebook. Granny's Peach Tea's Facebook group is where you can join and check out where we drop a bunch of trailers and news and other stuff that doesn't quite make the show. Check out Pop Culture Pros and popculturepros.com because that's who we are presented by. And wherever you found your audio-only podcast, subscribe to Pop Culture Pros. You can find our old episodes next week. I mean, anytime you like. We reviewed a bunch of stuff at this point. We're 212 episodes in, so there's a lot there. 222, sorry. I was even off with the number there.
Holy shit, we've got 222 episodes.
It's a lot. It's a lot now. So we will be back next week, though. We will be discussing the Fallout Season 2 finale, along with resuming our look back at the Alien franchise with Alien Resurrection. Will our enthusiasm for the franchise be resurrected after Alien 3? We'll find out because I haven't watched this in a long time, so I'm kind of excited.
I haven't seen it in a while. I remember liking it better than Alien 3, but also I had a lot of more positive things to say about Joss Whedon at the time, and this is a Joss Whedon joint, so...
Yes, it is written. It was written by Joss Whedon, but
yep.
I will separate the writing versus the man.
Absolutely.
Having said that, all
Absolutely.
right. So everyone, stay warm out there. If you're on most of the country, I guess, and everything like that, it's just absolutely freezing. We didn't know we were discussing how we moved to the hot system, or we weren't aware of that. Or Mr. Freeze really took over the town. Who knows? Everybody, chill. So
You killed me with that. I didn't see it coming.
take it easy. Next week. Peace.
Later.